Are you tired of having your HDR grades look nothing like your SDR creative intent? And if you are, you're not alone. So is also Steve Yedlin, who recently made an absolutely amazing video explaining why it matters and why it is important to make those two work. And inspired by his approach, I created a DCTL that is going to help you achieve exactly that. And in this video, I'm going to explain you how to use it, why it's important, and how you can preserve your SDR creative intent in HDR grades. Before we dive in, let me just cover a couple of technical aspects of this approach and for you to understand how suddenly this has become a topic. So just so you know, the idea of making your SDR and HDR grades is not necessarily new. It has been used in Hollywood in the past. Even I remember Walter Volpato sharing with us how he grades HDR and how he kind of just takes SDR grades and adapt them to an HDR screen. And basically the Steve Yedlin's video has now just made its point really important, and I can imagine that many of you are going to have cinematographers as clients who will come and who are going to want to do exactly the same. And I have also been approached and asked, hey Dado, how is it possible? How can we actually achieve exactly the same result? And in that video, what Steve Yedlin does is he has two monitors. One is SDR and one is HDR side by side, yet they perfectly match. Now, here is a couple of things that is really important to understand. Steve Yedlin is not using SDR monitors in 100 nits, so this is one of the first myths that he debunks completely. And as a matter of fact, most SDR monitors today can be and usually are brighter than 100 nits, which is kind of some standard or idea to how we should be calibrating our SDR monitors. So most of you already have good quality SDR monitors that are not necessarily getting milky when they get a little bit brighter, and the chances are that they operate in a range between 200 to 300 nits. So the idea is that we take that image and we then translate it to a HDR monitor. So how do we do that? So this is actually a two-step process.